Welcome to Malifaux University. 402. Replacing Models. We all have times in our lives when we wish we had made different choices. In Malifaux, we sometimes wish by turn 3 that we had brought different models into the game. Replace is a game effect that does just that. It swaps out one or more models for one or more other models. This can be a large model being replaced by a smaller one, usually as a result of a demise ability, as in the case of the Desolation engine being replaced by an Abomination. It can be several smaller models being replaced by a single larger one, like Steam Arachnids merging into a Steam Arachnid swarm. It can be a pretty even swap resulting from an ability, like Ferdinand Vogel and the Beast Within's shape change ability, or from an action, like Miranda's Beast Shape bonus action. It can also be part of an attached upgrade, such as an effigy model being replaced by an emissary model. There are so many ways replacing can happen, it would be easy to make mistakes, but the steps involved in replacing models have a specific sequence that makes it easy to get right. Keep in mind that replacing a model is not the same as summoning a model. If a model's game effect, like the Swinecurst's Demise ability, says to summon another model when it is killed, that newly summoned model is not affected by any of the rules explained in this video. Check out video 405 for detailed rules about summoning. When a model is replaced by another, there are 7 steps to follow before proceeding with the game. First, place the new model into base contact with the model that is leaving. If one model is replacing more than one model, the new model can be in base contact with any one of them. If multiple models are replacing a single model, all the new models must be in base contact with the old model. Normally, base contact can include being underneath or overlapping the model, as in the case of corpse, scrap, or scheme markers, but models are not allowed to overlap bases, even if one or both of them has the incorporeal ability. So the new model must be in base contact and just touching the old model's base. If the position of the old model prevents any of the new models from being placed, such as being stuck in a corner by impassable terrain or surrounded by other models, then the whole replace effect is just canceled. Also, if the new model is subject to a hiring limit that would be exceeded by adding it to the playing area, then the replace effect is canceled. You might see this in a Colette Dubois performer crew with a Coryphée duet. This model has a demise ability that replaces it with 2 mannequin models. If Colette's crew already has 3 or 4 mannequin models on the table, the duet's demise ability would do nothing. This also applies to models without a stated hiring limit, because then the implied limit is just 1. The second step is to adjust the new model's health. If models are combining into one, then the new model's health is the sum of the current health of the several models or the new model's maximum health, whichever is lower. If you have 3 Steam Arachnids, all down to 1 health, combine into a Steam Arachnid swarm with a maximum health of 9, the swarm's health is set to 3. This is why most replace effects that are a 1-to-1 swap will also include a heal effect. If a model is killed and replaced by a new model, but the new model's health is set to the old model's health, then the new model would be dead on arrival. If a game effect prevents the new model from healing, it may be killed, but that comes later. In the case of the Coryphée duet being replaced by 2 mannequins, the Coryphée duet's demise ability says the new mannequins each heal 1. So as cool as it seems to have these 2 new models on the table, each one can take only 1 hit before also being killed. The Coryphée duet also has a Dance Apart bonus action that allows it to replace itself with 2 individual Coryphées, but it has to cut its current health in half to do so. If the duet were at its maximum health of 10 when it used this action, then both the individual Coryphées would be at their maximum health of 5. If the duet were at 8 or 9 health, then both individual Coryphées would have 4 health. If the duet were at 6 or 7 health, then the individual Coryphées would be at 3 health, and so on. The important principle to remember is to always read the card carefully to see exactly how you should handle each model's unique actions and abilities. The third step is to transfer any conditions and tokens the original models had to the new models. In the case of many models becoming one, they would all be added to the new model naturally, but if one model becomes several, then only one of the new models receives the conditions and tokens. If 3 steam arachnids were all on fire with burning +1 when they combined into a steam arachnid swarm, the new model would come into play with burning +3. With our Coryphée duet, if it was on fire with a burning +5 condition and carrying a blight token from Hamelin when it died, one of the 2 mannequins that replaced that duet would receive burning +5 and the blight token, while the other would have neither of them. You cannot mix and match or split the conditions and tokens between the new models. Since some conditions like poison and burning might kill a model during the end phase, it is important to note that a new model that replaces another in the end phase and inherits these harmful conditions does not suffer their effects in the end phase. In other words, if our Flaming Coryphée duet dies from the burning condition in the end phase of the turn and is replaced by 2 mannequins in the end phase, the mannequin that inherits the burning condition does not also suffer burning damage in that end phase. Other conditions that resolve in the end phase, like adversary, shielded, or injured, just go away like normal and do not pass on to the new models. For upgrades, most of them will be simply discarded when the upgraded model is replaced by 1 or more models. Summon upgrades, however, do pass on to the new model unless something about the upgrade says it does not or cannot be attached to the new model. An example of this in play is with Dashiell Barker. His Call-in Reinforcements tactical action could summon a mounted guard and would attach a reinforcements upgrade to that model, which gives it the slow condition. When the mounted guard is killed, her demise ability replaces her with a regular guard patrol model. The new guard patrol receives the reinforcements upgrade since it is a summon upgrade, and the new model receives the slow condition since this step attaches the upgrade to the model. If the mounted guard were simply hired at the start of the game and given a non-summon upgrade like Expert Marksman or Leadline Coat, that non-summon upgrade would not transfer to the guard patrol model that replaces the mounted guard when she is killed. Step 4 of replacing a model is to transfer targeting or game effects related to schemes and strategies. For instance, if you were playing the Claim Jump scheme and chose a single Coryphée as the secretly chosen friendly non-leader model, when it is killed and replaced with a mannequin as a result of its demise ability, that mannequin is now the target of the Claim Jump scheme. When a model is replaced by more than one model, one of the new models becomes the target of the scheme, strategy, or game effect. You should privately make a note of the new target so when the time comes, it does not look like you are picking a model based on convenience. If a scheme requires you to select a model of a certain soulstone cost or station in the crew, the model that replaces that targeted model remains the legal target for the scheme. If the 12 soulstone Coryphée duet was chosen before the game to pair up with a 10 soulstone carver for the Vendetta scheme, and was replaced with 2 4-soulstone mannequins, one of the 2 new models would become the legal target of the scheme, regardless of the soulstone cost difference. This applies only if the new model and the old model are in the same crew, which is pretty much always. At the time of this video, there is exactly one situation that might involve enemy models being replaced by a friendly model. Sandeep Desai can use his Elemental Creation tactical action to summon elemental keyword minions. The summon upgrade that attaches to these models is called Shackled Elements and gives them the With Our Powers Combined ability that says the summoned model can replace itself and 2 other models with the same name with an elemental enforcer that has the same demise ability as all 3 replaced models, but does not require that the other models must have this upgrade attached or even be in the same crew. In practice, this might mean a Fire Gaemon with the Smoldering Heart demise ability could merge with 2 others and be replaced by a Fire Golem since it also has the Smoldering Heart demise ability. An Ice Golem could replace 3 Ice Gaemon since they all have the Frozen Heart demise ability. A Metal Golem could replace 3 Metal Gaemon with the Excess Material demise ability, and a 4 Winds Golem could replace 3 Wind Gaemon with the To the Sky demise ability. There is currently no elemental keyword enforcer with the same demise ability as the Poison Gaemon, so it is not able to use this ability. Similarly, Banasuva, Sandeep's totem, is an elemental enforcer, but there is no minion with his elemental breakdown ability, and the Essence of Power elemental enforcer has no demise ability at all. While a very specific scenario, if it were to occur and one of the enemy minions had been the subject of a scheme or other lasting game effect, those distinctions would not transfer to the new elemental enforcer since it would not be in the same crew. All of the other rules and restrictions about replacing models, such as adjusting health, transferring conditions and tokens, and the like, make no distinction for the faction and crew of the models involved and would apply normally. I'll take a brief moment now to thank all those who were patrons at the time this video was made, especially Griff, Sergey, Tom, Alan, Jeremy, Mikolai, and Travis, and many more at the free student tier. Your support is essential to bringing these videos to life. Step 5 is to remove the original models from the game. Take the models off the table and set them aside with their stat cards. If the new and original models are not in the same crew, then the original model is considered killed, ignoring its demise ability. A model killed in this way does not drop a corpse or scrap marker or initiate any other game effects related to its death. Step 6 is to check the new model's health. If the health of any new model is 0 for some reason, then that model is killed, and its player should go through the regular steps related to a killed model. You could see this if the new model were prevented from healing all the way back in Step 2. For instance, Marlena Webster has a resistance trigger called Teddy Help. Say a badly damaged Choreography duet attacked Marlena and she got a mask in her defense flip. She would push 2 inches away from the Choreography duet, which would then suffer 2 damage. The Choreography duet is killed and replaced by 2 mannequins. If the 2 mannequins are placed on the near side of the duet's base before it is removed, they will be within the 3-inch aura of Marlena's Withering Away ability, which prevents enemy models from healing. The 2 mannequins would be unable to heal their 1 point of health each, and then they would both be killed and would drop scrap markers along with any other appropriate game effects. The final step of replacing a model is to check for activation. This step has 2 rules within it that may cause some confusion when weighed against one another. The first part says, if any original models had activated, all new models are treated as having activated. It's important to understand that a model doesn't count as having activated until it has completed its entire activation. This part of Step 7 is for the event of models being replaced outside of their activation by the effect of another model. A simple example would be Lucas McCabe, Relic Hunter. If he is killed by another model, he is replaced by Lucas McCabe, Dismounted Hunter. If Relic Hunter had already completed his activation this turn, Dismounted Hunter would not be able to activate this turn. The second rule of this step states, if this replace occurred during an original model's activation, one new model continues that activation using any remaining actions. This is what players will encounter most often. If Lucas McCabe, Relic Hunter, were down to 1 health when he attacked Barbaros for his first action, the Outcast's Black Blood ability would kill the Relic Hunter, and he would be replaced with the Dismounted Hunter. Dismounted Hunter would then complete the activation. This is all fairly straightforward when the replace is a 1-for-1 exchange. It is when multiple models are replaced by one, or one model is replaced by multiple models, that confusion may arise. Let's look at it in both directions. Malifaux rats have a Tangle Together tactical action that allows 4 or more to be replaced by a Rat King model. If one of the rats takes the action during its activation, then the Rat King will continue and complete that rat's activation. If Hamelin, during his activation, were to use his Unclean Influence bonus action that says a friendly vermin model can take a non-bonus action, the player would have to check if any of the rats involved had already completed an activation. If any of the rats had already activated, the Rat King would count as having activated and would not be able to go until the following turn. If all the rats involved had not activated, then the Rat King would be able to activate this turn, all in accordance with the first part of Step 7. A different and less gross example is in the Choreophes and Choreophy duet. These puppet performer models have bonus actions that allow them to merge together and separate. There is currently no other game effect that can enable them to take this bonus action outside of their activations, but the duet's demise ability could replace the duet with 2 mannequin models, which could very likely happen outside the duet's activation. Let's look at these processes in action. One Choreophy activates and uses its Dance Together bonus action to merge with the other Choreophy. Even if one of the 2 original models had already completed an activation, this replace effect occurs during the activation of the other original model. The Choreophy duet is allowed to finish the original model's activation with 2 actions remaining, but no bonus action since the original model already used it. In another turn, the Choreophy duet uses its Dance Apart bonus action to replace itself with the 2 Choreophys again. Since this replace effect occurs during the duet's activation, one of the 2 new Choreophy models continues the duet's activation with 2 actions remaining. The other Choreophy may still activate later. If the second Choreophy were to use its bonus action when it activates, it would be able to replace both Choreophys with the duet again and finish its activation with 2 actions as the Choreophy duet. Both of these situations assume the bonus action is the first action taken by the player. If the bonus action that merges or separates the Choreophys were the final action taken during the activation, the new model would be placed on the table only to end the activation. If another model were to successfully kill the Choreophy duet after it had completed its activation, the 2 new mannequin models would be considered to have activated and would have to wait until the next turn before they could do anything. If the Choreophy duet were killed by another model before it activated, the 2 mannequins that replace it would both be allowed to activate that turn. That's the overview of replacing models. Pick up a printable set of all the markers and tokens you need to play Malifaux in the Wargame Vault. If you haven't already, join our Patreon for early ad-free access to all new content. And be sure to visit the Malifaux University gift shop for the latest in Malifaux-themed shirts, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Links are in the notes below. And remember, play friendly games, keep it simple, and have fun.